Hey guys, Poro here with another Worlds 2025 breakdown, this time for IG from the LPL. This team is definitely a fan favorite in both the East and the West, and I know many people are happy to see them make it, but it definitely wasn't as easy as we thought it would be. IG ended up losing faster than expected in playoffs, and needed to win their entry to Worlds through the regional qualifier. As many of you know, IG is a historically significant organization. They're one of the original teams, being formed back in 2011, basically the instant China got access to League servers. They participated in Worlds all the way back in Season 2, and for a while were considered threats to make it just about every year. The reason why is because IG is where Rookie would make his home, and he would quickly become the franchise player for the organization. A very young The Shy joined in 2017 to add even more firepower to the roster, but it was only in 2018 when they added a rookie Jackie Love to the team that they would finally be able to contend for a title. At that Worlds 2018, in one of the greatest series of all time, IG defeated the LCK 1-seed KT Rolster in quarterfinals, and proceeded to then steamroll their way to the trophy afterwards to win LPL's first ever Worlds. They also came back as potential favorites in 2019, but lost to the eventual champions in semifinals. Since then, IG has been in a dry spell. One by one, all of the original star players left or retired, and by 2022, nobody from those Worlds runs remained on the team. Instead, IG found themselves near the bottom of the standings with developing players. They did have some interesting playoffs runs here and there, but nothing substantial. Then, in December of 2024, IG's owners made a massive decision to completely drop all of their development plans, and instead attempt to reform the core of the 2018 team and to make a run for Worlds. They signed 5 international champions to form an old-school super team, including original franchise players Rookie and The Shy. With this team, they managed to put together some solid results. They made it to playoffs in all 3 splits. The first split, they were eliminated by the eventual champions Top Esports. In the second split, they fought their way all the way to 3rd place. And in this current split, they finished regular season in 2nd and looked to coast into a Worlds qualification spot. Unfortunately, they got a very unlucky set of circumstances in playoffs. After beating EDG 3-0, they lost the series to eventual champions BLG and were sent to the lower bracket, no big deal. But then, AL were hit with a massive upset and lost to Weibo, sending AL to the lower bracket to fight IG, where IG were quickly taken care of in a sweep. They fortunately had enough championship points to qualify for regionals though, where they would be given 2 more chances to qualify for Worlds. In the series to determine 3rd seed, IG faced off against Top Esports, and quite frankly just looked completely outclassed. They managed to take a game, but it was the most unconvincing win ever, and IG was sent to the 4th seed match in low spirits. Their opponents would be another attempted super team in JDG, who had undergone many negative roster changes and had their star mid laner involved in many out-of-game legal battles that resulted in a slumping performance. That said, JDG looked pretty clean against Weibo in the series prior, and Scout had managed to play his first great series in a long time. With JDG having the momentum and the players finally clicking together for once, it was hard to tell who would win in this last series. IG did win in the end, but it was certainly not convincing, and now people are left wondering how IG went from 2nd place to this so quickly. The Shy is the top laner, and his career trajectory is about as up and down as you can get. In 2018 and 2019, he was considered the best top laner in the world, maybe even the best player in the world depending on who you asked. He was known for picking ranged carry top laners like Kayle, Nico, and Jace, and completely monster lane gapping all of the other best top laners in the world. Just those 2 years alone are enough for many people to put him as the greatest top laner of all time. From 2020 to 2023, The Shy completely changed as a player. He went from a super carry top laner to someone who would run it down multiple times a game and lose his team matches relentlessly. I would personally put The Shy on my Mount Rushmore of all-time inters, and it was crazy how often he would make disastrous mistakes. Then, in Worlds 2023 semifinals, he randomly decided to become the GOAT again and completely gap Bin and BLG to make grand finals, and then he sat out for all of 2024. Heading into this year, The Shy still carries the reputation of being an inter, and his split 1 and 2 were not pretty, with him being up to his same old antics. However, in split 3 regular season, he managed to turn it around a bit and play his best split in almost 5 years. For his performance, he was awarded 1st team All-Pro top laner. He is also doing it with the same style he always has, with his top picks this year being champions like Nidalee, Jace, and Aurora, although he hasn't brought out Nidalee in split 3 yet. So that's it, right? The Shy is back? He's no longer an inter? Wrong. He's still just as disgusting as he always was, but somehow managed to hold back the int within him for a month or so. In playoffs, he was right back to being the old The Shy we all know and love, dying off cooldown and making games harder to win. Never changed, The Shy. If 1 inter wasn't enough, try 2 with their jungler Wei. After a lot of internal question marks surrounding whether JJ was a good fit for the team, IG decided to sign Wei after he was kicked from BLG, and the fit has been up and down. Wei is a very inconsistent player, but I also think he's a lot more creative than he gets credit for. Most of Wei's bad plays happen not because the play itself was bad, but because his hands are bad. His mechanics have not aged well, and the team has been forced to resort to putting Wei on easy to execute champions. A lot of times though, Wei can manage to find insanely creative angles to turn games around that other junglers would never go for, and I think he should be praised more for that. In Worlds, expect Wei to be a very volatile player. He will definitely make some horrible plays, and that's even if IG survive more than just the playing against T1, which they probably won't, but he might also make some game-winning plays that you never saw coming as well. In my opinion, Rookie is very much in the conversation for second best player of all time. After he came to the LPL, he was the best mid laner in the region for almost a decade. People who don't watch the LPL might not know what's up, since Rookie has had an international curse since 2019 where he can never qualify, but let me tell you, it was never his fault. In 2020 and 2021, he was being griefed by the Shy and the rest of his team didn't have the talent to win big games. When he joined V5 in 2022, he was easily the best player on that team and one of the best mid laners in the world. On Top Esports in 2023, I actually thought he was the best mid laner in the world full stop, but again, the team put around him just wasn't world class. NIP 2024 was more of the same with Rookie being very good, but his team again just was not it. In my opinion, from 2014 to 2023, Rookie was an elite mid laner who deserved to be viewed as one of the greatest of all time. All of that said, this year has not been Rookie's year. It seems like time has finally caught up with him, and his mechanics have definitely been way worse in 2025 than they were in prior years. I think Rookie is probably actually the biggest weak link on this roster unfortunately, and I would not expect great things from him against T1. From the worst performing player on the team to the best performing player, we have their ADC, Gala. Despite making no internationals and only being the 4th seed from the LPL for Worlds, I think Gala has been a top 3 ADC in the world in every single split. Regardless of how the rest of his team has looked, Gala has been on fire from start to finish, and this should be no surprise as Gala has been a top tier bot laner for years now. He's still the best Kai'Sa in the world by a large margin, currently being 7-0 on the pick for the split, averaging over 8 kills and just 1 death a game, and he's also been phenomenal on the other top ADC picks of the year like Varus and Ezreal. Most recently, he's shown some great games on Sivir and Ziggs, and I think Gala should be viewed as T1's #1 threat heading into that playoffs match. Finally, they've got Mako in the support position, my personal pick for the greatest support of all time. Keria is extremely close to passing him, and might by the end of the year depending on how he looks at this Worlds, but for now, my GOAT pick is still Mako. He was the brains behind one of the most dominant domestic stretches for a team ever for EDG from 2015 to 2018, he stayed elite and picked up a Worlds title in 2021, and when he finally left EDG in 2024 to join Top Esports, he and Jackie Love were one of the top 2 bot duos in the world that year despite the team's poor international showings. At this point in his career, the mechanics have fallen off. However, the brain is clearly still working, as every single team Mako has ever been on has been one of the best macro teams in the region, this year being no exception. I can't say for sure since I don't have access to comms or the backroom or anything, but with the other players' track records historically, I have to assume Mako is the one who whipped them into shape for their map movements and objective setups, both of which rival the best in the region. Mako can have an occasional int here and there, and some bad individual performances that would have been uncharacteristic in prior years are definitely more common now. However, Mako should still be viewed as a strong player, with his in-game creativity and large champion pool, and IG's bot lane shouldn't be out of the conversation for one of the best in the world. Mako's introduction leads great into IG's team breakdown, as my read of IG is that they are a macro team. Their biggest strength all year to me is their ability to play out games in a smart way, whether it be through their map rotations, their teamfight and objective setups, or how they structure their comps. With all 5 players being veterans, sometimes super teams can crumble due to huge egos. This time though, it feels like they've all pulled together the skills and knowledge they have to improve their gameplay as a unit and be better than the sum of their parts. IG's biggest weakness though is that said parts have mostly fallen off mechanically, and none of these players with the exception of Gala are the same player they used to be. The Shy, Wei, Rookie, and Mako are all not mechanically significant players at this point in their careers, and sometimes the team just gets outclassed and hand-stiffed when against the top teams of the region. Overall though, I was definitely hoping to see IG qualify. Of all the LPL teams this year, IG have felt like the most stable team in terms of what you can expect to get from them on a day-to-day basis, and they were one of the teams I thought would definitely lock in a world spot, even though their ceiling isn't as high as the other 3 teams who are representing. Of course, the question on everyone's mind is if IG have what it takes to beat T1, and in my opinion, the answer should be no. Even with T1's massive slump in playoffs, I don't think IG should be able to pose any real threat to them. If IG do win, it will have to be through bot lane with Gala being the hyper carry, as every other player on the team should be outclassed pretty hard. That said, T1 better figure out how to level up their play consistently, because if they can't figure out the fundamentals in time for the play-in match, IG will be able to beat them down in the macro game. I think IG should not be expected to advance past the play-in stage, and it's even debatable if making this video was worth it in the first place, but at least we'll be able to see some of everyone's favorite veterans back at Worlds one more time. That's all I have for you for this one. 8 down, 9 to go. I recently started a Patreon for people who want to support me more while I'm making these videos. I have 3 tiers, each with varying amounts of benefits including different types of behind the scenes content, and even a custom Poro drawing that I'll display in video outros. If that interests you, check out the Patreon link in the description. I'll see you all for the next one. Bye!